We're back. It's been a hot minute since we did another episode. Walking in the fog. I bet it's been. I mean, it's been at least a month, maybe 2 months since we've done an episode. Probably May. May. June was busy.
Every bit of at least May.
Maybe April.
Maybe April.
Yeah.
I think probably April.
Maybe. I guess I can go on a line with Blake, but
yeah, because camp. Camp just.
Yeah.
Our camp just ended. May is unreal busy.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
Going into June.
Right.
So.
It probably was April.
I'd say it's probably April because I think it was still cooler.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking about when I was coming today. We're like, let's meet at 6.
Yeah.
In the wintertime, when you meet at 6, it's dark.
It's dark outside. Yeah. No, it's probably going to be light by the time we leave. That'll be a first.
I know.
Usually it's dark when we're walking out of here.
Yeah, I think every time we've done one, it's always been dark.
So we're back. This is going to be the first episode of a new season we're going to start. We're going to have more guests, which I think last season we only had one guest. So we only got to get... We get 2 guests this season. We've doubled
portion.
Our guests. That's right. Double portion. So we're going to have more guests this year, just kind of more just conversations. Maybe not really have a topic that we're going to go into. Tonight we don't. We're just going to talk, kind of open up, just see where the conversation goes. So this is going to be the first episode of the new season. More guests, more conversations, more episodes. We're going to try to do at least once or twice of these a month.
More personality.
Yeah. Yeah, this is I think it was
so I watched I think one of these videos, not very much of it because I can't handle watching the video.
I agree. I'll watch it just to make sure it looks good for a second and get off.
But even listening to myself talk on these things, I'm like, man, I gotta do a better job at having some personality. Like Adam's over here killing I don't know, your tone changes, and I'm like, oh man, he sounds so excited, and here I am over here blah blah blah,
I was adjusting your mic a little bit ago before you came, and I was playing with yours, and I knew how your voice is kind of deep, and it projects easily, and I was like, I gotta turn his way down because he can just talk, and it's like this the whole way, but it's so...
Yeah, see, even you. It's like this. It's monotone the whole way. So I'm like, I gotta pep this thing up, man.
I want the adjusters even more now.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to hit some high stuff.
They're gonna be in the car turn. Oh gosh, break my speakers.
What's wrong with this guy?
But so that's what we're gonna do. Just kind of talk. We didn't have a topic coming into tonight. I just wanted to kind of talk, get caught up, see what's been going on, what's on your heart, Lord put anything on your heart, and just go from there.
I know you guys don't get to hear the conversations that we have before we start recording, but a lot of times we sit around and
we've been
several times. Yeah,
we've been here for an hour.
Yeah, several times we're sitting around having conversation, and we're like, man, we should be recording this right now.
Yeah.
This would be a good topic.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, right before we threw the headphones on and turned the mic and hit record, I felt like, what we were talking about as far as, I've got friends that phenomenal Christian, men and women that have chosen not to be connected to a body of believers on a regular basis. And like I was telling you, I kind of float both sides of the fence on that because I don't want anybody to feel like, Jesus in John 3:17 says Jesus came not to condemn the world, but that the world through him would be saved. So I don't want to throw shade on anybody that doesn't attend church on a regular basis to where they feel condemned.
That's
because that's not what saves you. But at the same time, I do feel like it's super beneficial. We were both talking about it. Super beneficial for us to get with a body of believers.
Right.
and if it's not every week, I do feel like
Yeah.
it's super important for us to get together with a
Yeah.
group of people and have, I almost said, and have church,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm always throwing,
Yeah.
my identity is, that's who I am,
That's right.
not where I go.
Not a building,
or-
not a
yeah,
place.
Yeah, not a time. But I do think that it's super beneficial for us to get together with people. Maybe I'm going in there and I'm like, I'm not really getting a whole lot in my own self.
Right.
But maybe that's because you're supposed to be there to sow in
Yeah.
to other
To
people.
somebody else,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where I had a conversation with a friend of mine, this has probably been 4 or 5 years ago. And this dude lived this, deep life of devotion, but wasn't connected to any body of believers, and he came out. It was when we was at Kingdom Life Church there in Nitro, and I think we had like a youth retreat, and
Yeah.
he came and helped our praise and worship, and we actually had the kids come back to Kingdom Life, kind of did like a little celebration service like we do at Bancroft after our service, after our camp, and at the end of service he's getting ready to leave, and I was like, hey man, you need to get connected to a body of believers. And he was like, man, I'm living a deeper life of devotion than I've ever lived before. I'm like, not saying you don't, man.
Yeah,
Not
right.
saying that you don't. But your life of devotion can be, plugged into what's going on with the body of believers to where, and that's what I'm saying. I don't want to go back to conversations that we already had,
Yeah.
almost just because they almost feel rehearsed or whatever.
Sure.
But at the same time, I do feel like it's important to kind of maybe hit on this for a second. But I told you earlier, during that COVID season, we had 6 weeks where I couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. And it would have been easy for me to sit at the house and be like, well, I'm just going to work on the yard and I did that
Yeah,
stuff, not
yeah.
not saying I didn't, but I really took that opportunity to really study out some things. That's where we got into the I am statements in the
right.
book of John. I really
Right.
dove into that during that 6-week period of downtime, and would spend a couple hours, and then my brain would get
Yeah.
blurred out because I'd be trying to retain all this
Yeah.
information. And I'm
Yeah.
like, and I'd have to take a break for a little bit. But even while I'm taking a break, I was mindful. That's what I'm saying. I was mindful of what I'd been studying, and it made me, the Bible says, taste and see that the Lord is good. And I began to hunger and thirst
Right.
after
Right.
that. And I had a beautiful time during that shutdown of really spending some time with the Lord in prayer, in devotion, and it helped me to grow. And me and Bert, some of us got together and did some of those live stream
Yeah, right,
worships,
right.
and we got to kind of. I was even able to share a little bit of what God had been sowing into me. But
Right.
and that's the thing is, now I could have sat at the house and kept all that in.
That's right.
I could live in that life of devotion in isolation of
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
And been like, boy, this is good, and I love the Lord, and
Right.
I'm soaking this all in, and being connected. But I don't think that the intent, Jesus didn't tell the disciples, hey, you've spent all this time with me. We've had all these teaching moments. You've got to see me do signs, miracles, and
Yeah.
wonders. Now keep that all for yourself.
Yeah.
Don't take that anywhere.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
He did the opposite.
That's right.
Go and tell people,
Yeah.
what you learned.
That's
Go and
right.
tell the secrets that I'm whispering in your ears,
Yeah.
And so, and that's what I'm saying. During that time, we had an outlet which ended up being live stream
Yeah.
that now almost every church in
Yeah.
in America is doing live streams
Yeah.
now. So there's plenty of opportunities for anybody that's sitting
Yeah.
at the house say, well, I can't get up and go to
Right.
church. Well, there's plenty of live streams.
That's right.
But there was an outlet that was given to me to say, hey, yeah, man, I want you to spend time and have this devotion with me. But it's not just for you. It's
Right.
I'm teaching you things so that you can teach others.
Right.
And that's where like people that are living this devoted life, it's super important for you to be around, to me, a body of believers, because not everybody's living that life of devotion.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are feeling, we talked earlier about objective and subjective isolation.
Right.
There's a lot of people living in isolation. Subjectively, they're sitting in a church full of 100 or 200 or 1,000 people, and they feel alone.
Right. Right.
And they need somebody that loves the objective
That's right.
isolation to come in there and make them feel like they're not alone anymore, and to be able to sow in. I try to take every opportunity anymore to walk into a room and say, I'm here for a purpose.
Yeah.
And more than that, God has me in the room for even a person.
Right.
Right. And I'm always, I feel like I'm kind of in a season where whenever I come into a room and you start hearing somebody like throwing out about 100 F-bombs, you're like, that's the guy I'm here for.
I already got him in my eyes.
All right, Lord, help me.
This is him
help
right here.
me.
Yeah. How am I going to do this?
Yeah, and not coming in saying, help me, God, transform him on the spot.
That's right.
But I
Leave
think
an impact on
I'm
him.
supposed to be connected to this guy, just maybe to have a conversation today or tell a joke to him.
Yeah.
Make him know, like,
and leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm not just some square.
Yeah,
an L7 weenie.
Yeah,
that's what they on the Sandlot.
Oh yeah,
L7
weenie. Yeah, that's very good.
But yeah, I thought that was a good conversation.
Well, and a lot of my thoughts always goes back to like sport analogies. Especially like team sports and stuff like that. Like, teams. I love team sports. Anything team. Basketball, this and that. But there's a lot of stuff that happens. Like when I played ball, there's a lot of things behind the scenes I did. My favorite time in the gym was by myself. Mm-hmm. Like that, I love the gym. I'd go in there 2 or 3 hours and just do my thing. Mm-hmm. And then even when I got done, even when I wasn't playing basketball anymore for a team or anything, I'd still work out basketball myself just to get a workout. Yeah. Like I didn't like running on a treadmill. But I'd still do basketball workouts by myself because I just liked the workout, the isolation. Right. It was just me. But even like when I was playing, the behind-the-scenes stuff that people don't see, because of that and because I was on a team, when I got to the team and it was time to play with the team and other people, it just made, everything so much more better.
Yeah.
And, made myself better. I was telling you a little bit ago, I think I'm a self-motivated person, but at some point I'm going to get tired. I'm going to get fatigued, or it's going to, I'm going to get, at some point I'm going to run out of that energy, and I need someone else on my team to say, all right, come on, let's go.
Because if you go to the gym every single day, but you never play in the game with the team,
that's right.
Right. After a while, it's kind of like,
yeah. What's the point of this?
Yeah. I mean, some people may love that, but the whole goal in sitting there in the gym, spending that extra time, shooting the foul shots, doing your drills and all this stuff is so that you can get connected with a team to win.
To win.
And,
make it,
to compete,
Yeah.
to get into a place where there's excitement and there's teamwork and once again, this guy's having a bad game and you got to step up your game.
Right.
Or I'm having a bad game and this guy. So
that's right.
this week I'm just throwing the assists.
Yeah.
Because I ain't getting my shots.
Yeah. Right.
Right. And I was thinking, well, don't mean to like cut you off, but I was thinking as soon as you said that, like we'll go to a game as a spectator even to support the group of guys that's playing the game, know? And that's just like when you're on the floor playing your sport and the fans are into the game, it's totally different than if you're playing in an empty gym.
Right.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right. Oh yeah.
So,
Changes that
right.
the whole atmosphere.
So
changes.
same thing, like when you're getting into the house with a body of believers and like the praise team or the preacher or whoever's leading the service is in there, and you're doing it to an empty room with, or even a full room with no support.
Yeah.
Bro, that's rough.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? But if you get in there, and maybe I'm not leading the service or I'm not preaching or I'm not leading the singing, but whenever I come in and I support the
That's right.
team,
Yeah.
I'm supporting the family, I'm
Yeah.
supporting the people that I'm connected with,
Yeah.
then that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're all suddenly a part of
Mm-hmm.
this same, this same family
Yeah.
of people, and it's so much better to me than
Yeah.
than just doing this thing separated from everybody else.
And doing it with a group is not you're not making it about the group.
Mm-hmm.
You're not making it about the church. You're not making it about we do these things to support each other, but it's all for it's for
The glory.
the privilege,
That's
the
right.
glory. We have
Yeah,
a
yeah.
privilege. We have the privilege to serve God, and it is to do it by yourself. Again, I kind of me personally, I could do it for a while, but after a while, I'll probably get burnt out on it. But being in a room with people and whether it's actually at a physical church or just in our we do our little gathering, just being in a room and just with a group of believers or people that kind of we all are seeking the glory of God and everything we do to lift Him up. I mean, it's a different feeling, and I think back to not try to make it real biblical about it, but it's about relationship.
Yeah.
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 In the beginning, what was lost. Here
Yeah.
we go. Now we're back to that which was lost.
Yeah.
The relationship
Yeah.
between man and God.
Yeah.
And I think God wants us, man, to, our relationship will reflect the relationship we have with each other.
Yeah. I agree. Yep. Agree 100% with that. My ears getting sweaty.
This was pulling. I feel like it's pulling my hat back and like squeezing my forehead. I probably have like an indentation here a little bit.
Yeah.
No one can tell, but my hair is crazy long.
I got a buddy of mine. He doesn't have a whole lot of hair anymore. And bro, every time he takes his hat off, he's got you can read his forehead
No.
the whole hat
Yeah.
band.
Yeah.
I'm like, my gosh, dude, you gotta start wearing a bigger hat. I said, your head
Just
tight. I'm
Squeezing his head.
like anytime I've wore a tight hat, you take it off and the top of your head kind of tingles
Yeah.
because all the blood starts coming. I'm
back.
like, is your head tingling right now? Because there ain't no way there's circulation getting up in that thing.
Yeah. That's awesome. I got so much hair right now on my head. I had to move a button
You had to
I had
clip.
to extend my snapback because it was too tight. I never had to do that.
Trying to pull a Samson over here.
Yeah. So don't
Is
shave
that
my
working?
head. No, it's not working. No.
I got a buddy at work that he started actually teaching the teens at his church. It's my buddy Steve Carroll, guy that he's been clean now, I think a little over or right at 5 years.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So he started teaching like the teens at his church.
Right.
And, he comes to me at work every once in a while. I was like, what do you think I ought to go into? Right now, man, he was on Ananias, like the guy that Saul went to.
Yeah.
That had to, help him so he wouldn't be blinded and kind of disciple Paul.
Right.
And help him out whenever he made his transformation. But man, this guy's throwing some stuff at me that I'm even like, I've never really studied Ananias. Well, now he's into Gideon, and he's been doing a lot of stuff with Gideon.
Yeah.
And he's all like, I think maybe next I'll go to Samson.
That's
Because I guess he's in Judges.
Sure,
and that's where you got Gideon and Samson and stuff like that. But we was talking a little bit about Gideon, and I said, or I mean, well, we do talk about Gideon, but we were talking about Samson, and I said, read Samson really good. I said, and tell me how often he gives credit to the Lord for, you know, his strength. Because if you read, you know, Judges, I think, I'm not exactly sure what chapters it is, maybe chapter 9. I don't know. Yeah. If you listen to this and you want to look it up, it's in Judges.
You can fact check this.
I think Gideon might be in chapter, I want to say it's in like 4, 5, and 6. I think Samson might be in like 8, 9 or something like that. But anyways, everybody always, you know, wants to talk about Samson's strength and all these things. And, you know, there's some awesome things that God does. But Samson, the dude never gives credit to God for his strength or anything a single time. Right. Honestly, like we were talking about, I think we were talking about him being, when he could see, he was blind, but it was when he was blind, that's when he saw.
Oh, okay.
And man, like I just honestly thought about this, but in the last, or the podcast before the last one that we did, when we did the Bread of Life.
Bread of Life,
yeah. So leading into that, I think was in John chapter 9 was when Jesus had healed that blind dude.
Yeah.
And at the very end of it, he's basically telling the Pharisees, you guys think you see, but you're really blind.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And that's the way Samson was. When he could see and he had all this strength, he never gave credit one single time to the Lord, you know, never. But it was when, you know, he was weak and had been blinded. That's when he finally was like, God, give me strength one more time, you know? And that's in my weakness, that's when I'm strong, you know, because God's grace is made sufficient in weakness. So I'll boast in when I'm weak.
Oh, yeah, I knew that was coming up.
I know. I can't help
say it. You had to say it.
Yeah. But, I thought that was pretty cool. Like, this dude thinks that he can see, and he's all, you know, walking around in all this natural strength. Most of it, like, whenever he killed the Philistines, it was like the spirit came upon him, and he killed all these dudes and stuff like that. But, yeah, man, it wasn't until he was actually blind, naturally blind, that he spiritually was able to see, man, my strength came from one place. And that's same with us. When we close our eyes to the natural strength, you know, my natural ability and my natural identities, you know, because we talked about that at camp this year, identification. When I close my eyes to what the world sees of me, and my spiritual eyes are open to what God, how God sees me and where true strength comes from, that's when I really become alive, you know. Jesus said, if you want to hold on to your life, you will lose it. But if you're willing to lose your life for my sake, then you'll gain life.
Yet not I, but Christ.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, hitting on church camp. We had a good church camp.
Awesome church camp. 20, how many kids?
21. I say 21 total. I think Meredith has put 20. I feel like we had 21 total, and this is where I'm coming from on that. We had 19 kids get saved on campus. At the camp.
Yeah, at the camp, yeah.
We had a young girl that came out on the very first day, hadn't filled out an application, came and saw all that was going on. You know, it was like, oh my gosh, I want to stay here.
Yeah.
So like her parents came and was like, hey, you know, can Olivia stay? And we honestly, like, had so many kids that was, in the youngest girl's cabin that we actually had to pull out a cot.
Oh, wow.
So that one of the girls so we just didn't have enough room for her. And, but anyhow, like through the week, she was coming out for all of our services. And she went home one evening, started talking to her mom and dad, and said, hey, you know, I want to get saved. And they talked her through the process. She, you know, and received Jesus as her Lord. And then, so that made 20, you know? And then on Saturday, when camp's over, and we're cleaning up, there was my cousin Angel had her nephew with her, and they were heading home. And on the way home, he's like, you know, I think he calls her Dee Dee. Starts asking her questions about, you know, what's it mean to be saved? How do you get saved? And the angel just, beautifully walks him through, salvation.
Yeah.
And, how to receive and how to, to believe and confess.
Right.
And she's like, we had this this whole conversation. She said, and then like it kind of got quiet in the car for just a minute. And then he was like, Dee Dee, I'm a Christian. And she's like, really?
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
Angel like calls my dad.
Yeah.
Just, it was
Yeah.
like, hey, Steve, I just, led my, nephew to the Lord, but I want to make sure that I did it all right.
Yeah.
And explained to Dad, and Dad was like, Angel, you nailed it.
That's awesome.
You nailed it.
That's
like,
awesome.
Yeah, and I'm so thankful for like Angel,
Yeah.
and for you, and I mean
Yeah.
everybody that came
Yeah.
out, but like Angel hadn't been, connected out to the camp for I don't know a few years,
Right.
and she like hollers at me about a month before camp. It's like, hey, I want to come to camp. I was like, get an app. I said, you need to get an application in.
Yeah.
We have to have
Yeah.
an application. And she's like, okay, how do I get one? I'm like, get one from Meredith.
Yeah.
Or, I'll try to find one for you. Well, like 3-4 weeks goes by and she hasn't been able to get an application. And I'm like the night or 2 nights before, she's like, hey, I'm still planning on coming out to work.
Yeah.
Is there anything I need to do? I'm like, you need to get an application. And I'm like, go to uwycc.org,
Yeah.
download that PDF file. And she did that. And then she's like, text me back like, I can't get it to like fill out on the computer.
Right.
And I'm like, are you around a printer? If not, like, if you can find some way to even like
Draw on top of it.
draw on top of it and just send me a screenshot.
Yeah.
So what she was somewhere where they had a printer. They printed it off.
Oh, heck yeah.
She took a picture of it, sent it to me, and then I just forwarded that to Meredith because we got to have
right.
applications for insurance so that everybody's
right.
covered and all that kind of stuff. And plus, like, it just takes away from honestly like headaches for me.
Yeah.
Because one of the rules is people can't just be coming in and out, in and out,
Yeah.
So like I'm always like, fill out an application, and that way, like, if you got to leave or if you want to, because we usually tell all the visitors to leave at like 10 o'clock after service. We all have snacks. I'm like, all right, all the visitors, it's time for y'all to go. But if you fill out an application, right now you're one of the workers, so you can stay a little bit longer. And you can be a part of like the afterglow and that kind of stuff. So I always try to tell people, hey man, if you want to be a part of camp, I'm going to put you to work.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like Angel came out there and basically like every year we've always had like maintenance men, but we've never had somebody kind of designated as the maintenance woman to where like if something goes wrong in the girls' bathroom, we got to like kind of shut off the girls' bathroom,
get everybody out.
Holler at the guys got to come and be like, anybody in here, Well, like I was like, hey, this is perfect because if there's something that goes on in the girls' restroom or over on the girls' side, I can just have Angel go take care of it. And that's kind of what she did, you know. And she was all over the place. She was, helping out with maintenance. She was helping out, with sports. She was helping out with crafts. She was helping out with the food. Like we had a couple girls that came out that were our campers from last year that wanted to stay connected to the camp. We had 3 girls that came out every single day. And I think they got a little bit bored. I think they thought, we watch all these guys, but that's what I loved about this year's camp is, man, I'm seeing like so many people see the fruits of the camp, and when you get more people invested, and then and you see the 21 lives that give their life to Christ, and and you were a part of that, you know what I'm saying?
That's right, yeah.
And I was a part, got to be a part of that. I had a dude that came out and cut down a couple trees for us that were hanging out over top of the girls' cabins that I work with. And I went to work the next week, and I'm telling him about these 21 kids that got saved and 22 kids that got baptized. And I'm like, bro, you were a part of that. Like, maybe he cut down a couple trees, But had he not cut down those trees and a limb comes down on those cabins and we got to tell kids, hey, sorry,
Yeah, we can't.
we got to send y'all home or whatever. Maybe that's some of those people that don't give their lives to Jesus. And, to be able to invest however you can, and that's what he said. Whenever he cut those trees, I was like, dude, you don't know how much I appreciate this. He's like, this is what I love to do, and this is a way that I could help your camp out. So that's what,
Right.
It's not always the people that's like right up here in the front.
Yeah.
Some stuff happens. Nobody's ever going to see it. But if they don't do what they do, we can't have camp,
Right. Right.
We had like the sewer that went out. And there was a bunch of people that come out and helped us get all that sewer.
Yeah.
I mean, you came out and helped us out with that. Probably majority of the camp didn't even know anything had really even. Well, I don't know because, just to we had some problems with our septic system this year, and I actually it backed all the way up to where it was floating in the toilets, So anybody that did go in the bathroom and saw the toilets weren't flushing, they knew.
Yeah, they knew, and probably smelled it as well.
Well, the girls definitely did.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah,
The
the
boys
girls,
probably didn't.
yeah,
They
because
didn't know.
our septic tanks are. But within 8 hours we had that all resolved.
Yeah.
But the camp kept on, going. We're telling boys, boys, do what you do.
Yeah,
Go down beside the
Get behind
tree.
the cabin,
Go
yeah.
deal with it. Go
Yeah.
down beside the tree. Girls, just don't flush because
Yeah.
if you flush, that old water's going to be touching the tush.
Yeah.
But we're back there working, all day long, and the camp's just kind of just working like normal. And most people don't see all the things that went on to get it all resolved. We got it resolved. It all worked out. And there's a couple things we have to do. But that's what I'm saying. There are so many people that were connected, like Angel and those, the girls that came out.
Yeah.
That thought, we're going to be on the run a lot. And that's what Sherry Arthur.
Yeah.
She said it was really nice this year not having to pull double and triple duty because there's been years where she'd come out and be a counselor, be doing tribes, and be doing, maybe helping with sports or whatever because we didn't have enough help.
Yeah.
So I'm 100% grateful that we had so much help.
Yeah.
That we had people come out and they were like, I'm kind of bored.
Yeah, right.
I don't really, I
That's a
thought
good problem.
Yeah.
That's a good problem.
Yeah. So I'm super stoked
Yeah.
about all that. I feel like Chris killed the game whenever he was out there preaching. Chris Mose.
Man, the Lord used him. Which you can get those listen if you wanted to. If you want to listen or you can download all of his messages, right?
Yeah.
From each night.
Yeah, you can't listen.
But you can get the
all of his notes.
slides and notes and
Yeah,
stuff.
all of his notes. That's on our website too, uwycc.org.
Yeah.
And all of his notes, on day one, he laid out a fantastic foundation because our whole thing was on identity, which the first podcast we ever did was on identity.
Yeah.
And that's what was different about this camp too is 2 years ago we did More Than Conquerors. Last year we did For Such a Time as This and used Esther. In those camps, typically in our camps when we have a theme, our class curriculum goes along with whatever the theme is, But whoever's preaching, usually just they're preaching whatever the Lord puts on them.
Right.
We've been having afternoon chapel, which you've come out, and if I'm hey, it's More Than Conquerors, you didn't come out, last year hitting on More Than Conquerors.
Right.
You had your own little message,
Right.
Afterglow, we have people that teach in Afterglow devotions, and it'll be whatever's, kind of on their heart.
Right.
This year was, if we're not in a season where people need to know, what their identity is, biblical truth of identity and where it's at, and a gospel. That's what Chris called it, the gospel identity. Having a gospel identity.
Yeah.
We're in that season, and you could tell because the class curriculum in the morning was identity. In the afternoon chapels, it was, everybody was bringing identity.
Yeah.
Whenever we did evening service,
Yeah.
Chris was bringing identity.
Yeah.
When we went into Afterglow
Yeah.
around the fire, it was identity. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, it was definitely like
and not
even,
planned. I mean, that was, you didn't tell
Right.
everybody that afternoon, hey, bring good message based on identity.
Yeah.
No.
And each one of them was their own message.
Right.
You know, it wasn't a bunch of Davids trying to be Sauls.
Sure. Yeah.
It was a bunch of Davids saying, I can't put on Chris's armor and do it Chris's way.
Yeah.
And everybody's message was identity, but it was just so beautifully, you know, puzzled and pieced together. It was just amazing, you know, and that's what, I mean, to pull in even last year's theme, this year's theme was for such a time as this, you know. I mean, it was perfect, man.
Yeah.
And I saw kids after camp. I mean, just my identity is in Christ, and that's the truth. Like when it all comes down, like when we talked about identity before, you know, and we were talking about, you know, what describes us and when it all comes down to the grid of it, our identity is either I'm in Christ or I'm not. You
That's
know,
right.
I'm in Christ or I'm not.
Yeah.
And but yeah, man, Chris nailed it. Like he threw out this whole, pulled in the prodigal son and this whole modern identification to the traditional identification. And, you know, using the prodigal son as being this modern identification.
That's right.
You know, I'm trying to figure who I am, and I'm going to identify my own self, and you just have to accept who I say that I am. Yeah.
You do you, I do me. Just worry about each other. You know?
Yeah. And then the traditional was, I'm going to obey all the rules.
Yeah.
And it's all, but both men, the prodigal son and the older son,
the brother,
were, and this what I loved was, they were both chasing the inheritance, you know. But neither one of them cared about having a relationship with the Father. And identity, the real identity, if I'm really going to get to know who I am, it's not in getting to go to heaven one day or getting to have all these blessings, but it's chasing the one who blesses me, you know. Natalie Grant's got that song, like, you know, trying to get to the healer instead of the healing and all that, you know. I mean, that's the key to knowing who I am is if I'm close to the Father, if I'm having a true relationship with the Father, I'm going to know who I am, you know.
Without a question.
Yeah.
Even whatever, you know, work is going to tell you, or, you know, your friends might say, I mean, the closer you get, man, with God, there's nothing that can say, you know, maybe you need go this route, or, you know, think more of, you know, who you are with your job title or your job description or whatever, you know. But I mean, it was perfect. I mean, I think also the Wicked Camp, you know, it would obviously, I think it played a very important impact on the kids, but even the adults.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I saw just a different, you know, I wasn't around the kids as much as probably you were, but like just the atmosphere amongst like the adults was also just different.
Oh man,
the relationships, like, I mean, even Allison, like before, like, you know, of course that was just her second year going out there, but still, like, you know, just people that she was talking to was just like she's known them for a long time,
right? And
just you know, it was just as if she just, you know, has been going out there her entire life. Yeah. And, you know, she
almost like she was a camper and everything.
Yeah, right. You know, and she loves the play. You know, she loves going out there now. Yeah. And but yeah, you know, and people they treat her like she was a camper for, you know, 15, 16 years or whatever. But
some people probably thought she was a camper.
Probably. You know? Right.
Yeah. Allison, you know, she's $1.05, you know, 5 foot 2 inches tall.
Yeah. You go back to your cabin. Yeah.
Honey, I don't think you're supposed to be out in the field.
I got a story. Last year, I don't know who this guy was. I'm sure he's not going to listen to the podcast. He was with Joe Wiseman, sitting beside Joe. And after one evening service, he came up and he goes, "Is this your daughter?"
Talking to you?
Yeah.
No. I
was like,
no.
No, I was like, it's my wife.
Oh, no.
I did not know how to respond to that guy.
Uh,
And he was dead serious too. He's like, I thought. He said, from behind y'all. He said, I thought that you were her dad. I was like,
bro, you're
No.
so old.
I'm like,
You
I'm
look
not
so
that old. At the time, I was 28 or 27. Yeah, I was 27.
Oh, that's rough.
And I'm like, dude, and I looked at Alice like, do I look like that old? Like I could be your dad, But
Did
yeah,
she say, well, you do dress kind of old?
no. She did send me a memory like just a little bit ago, like 3 years ago, and I do look like crazy young.
Yeah.
Like just 3
Like a
years.
kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, 3 years can change a
Yeah.
lot.
It's the mustache.
Probably.
It's the mustache, bro.
I just let myself go, man.
Anytime that I try to look younger, I've always tried to lose the mustache.
Really?
Because when you got that clean lip,
Yeah. Okay.
I'm telling you, lose the mustache.
Use the mustache.
Yeah.
Might try that. See if that works out. I threaten Allison all the time. I'm shaving it off. She won't let me.
Yeah.
She won't let me.
I've told Valerie I'm going to shave my face too, but the last time that I went clean shaven, I think, I worked over on AT side, so that's probably been 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So I go clean shaven, and I'm thinking that I'll look young
Yeah.
like I did before, because I always was like, oh, I just look baby face. No, bro. I just look like an old dude with a clean shaven face. I was like, I'll never go clean shaven again.
That's not good. Now you just look weird.
Yeah. I'm like, oh no, I just got old.
No.
But every once in a while I'll holler at Valerie and I'll be like, I'm gonna shave my face. What do you think? She's like, no, don't do it.
Yeah. I don't get that. They can dye their hair and do all this stuff, but like, we're not going to dye our hair. This is the only thing we can change.
Yeah. Well,
that
I
will
think
change
Valerie
our
gets,
appearance.
Valerie gets nervous because like, whenever I was younger, I rolled in like a few times with Fu Manchus.
Oh yeah.
And I did like the Wolverine
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
little bit,
yeah.
just shaved my chin.
I did. I was big into like the chin strap. Like
Yeah.
just like a pencil thin chin strap.
Yeah. Well, I rocked the chin strap whenever I was, early 20s and
Yeah,
stuff like that,
yeah.
because I honestly just couldn't grow a real beard.
Yeah, yeah.
So I did the chin strap.
Yeah.
Yeah. I look at some pictures now. I'm like, oh man.
I always
come on.
had, because I couldn't.
The Backstreet Boys look.
Yeah. I couldn't grow much on the side. I always had like my chin.
Yeah.
I just had hair on my chin. Looking
Yeah.
back, it was weird.
Everybody, I think, kind of went through that, and the whole soul patch.
Yeah.
I remember
yeah.
the soul patch was kind of in there for a while.
I used to remember Ronnie Skeens had the meanest. Like, does he still have? I mean, he used to have a soul patch.
Yeah,
Back in the-
well, he doesn't now.
He doesn't now,
now he keeps the beard.
Does he? I haven't
yeah,
seen him. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, he had a mean soul patch.
yeah.
And he put a dip in too, and just
Yeah.
make it look even cooler.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
It was like his dip went right on down to his chin.
Yeah. And it pushed
Yeah, I
out
think it
that-
was just a spit catcher.
yeah. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, no, Skeens, he rocks. He's been rocking a beard for, Skeens he's 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
And I think it took him 50 years to finally be able to get,
Okay.
beard to grow. That's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
think most people like do chin straps, or they just do
Yeah.
the little chin until they can actually grow a
Get some-
beard.
yeah.
Like, I said I was probably like 35 before I finally was able to grow something right here.
Yeah, I still get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm probably never going to go clean shaven again,
I'll get like a 2 and like kind of trim it up nice and clean, but that's the lowest I'll go.
Yeah. See, maybe you need to go shorter so that people don't come out to the camp and think that you're Allison's dad.
Seriously, dude, that was
know?
weird. It was hard to recover from that conversation
bet.
with the dude. Something that, I don't know, the top. Joe ended up changing the topic they gave us.
Oh, Joe, man, he helped us out a lot at camp.
He came in clutch, didn't he?
Yeah.
Man, I like Joe. He's a
Joe
good
was
dude.
one of the guys that really